Episode 4.
Episode 4, we're here. College football week 6. Let's talk about it, yeah?
Hate our first topic.
Yeah. I figured we get it out of the way this time though. And talk about a little Michigan State football. I didn't even watch the game. I was at the
I
Izone.
didn't even watch it. I really
Thankfully,
did.
let me rephrase.
After like
It worked
after
out
like
well.
the first quarter, I really stopped watching it. I was like, okay, it's wraps.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I knew it was honestly we covered, first of all. I want to say that.
We did cover. We
We did
did
cover the
cover.
spread. It was like a
Yeah.
24 points. We
You
covered.
know the fun, I think Jonathan Smith knew that we covered because there was a penalty. There was someone from Oregon ran into the kicker during the field goal and he declined it and just accepted the field goal. So I think he knew. He for sure knew.
Yeah, no. I'll take it. No complaints, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, I will say after that game, it makes me think we still have a chance against some teams down the road. It's going to be a little tough though. I mean, Oregon's obviously they were ranked 6th in the country. Um, Now they went up obviously now, but listen, Childs, um, I think he needs to work on ball control for me. That's my takeaway. He's learning. He's making better reads for sure. He had no picks, no touchdown passes, but he had one fumble, and he's had
Yeah.
fumbles or he just needs to work on the ball control ultimately. I think that's my biggest
Yeah,
thing for
I mean that'll come with
him.
experience and time, honestly, because he's still so young and stuff. So
Yeah. Speaking of ball control, I have a little thing here. Where's Nathan Carter? He didn't do anything.
he ain't doing anything. I think didn't other running back K Trent or what was his name? Yeah, I
Lynch
forgot.
Adams.
Lynch Adams. There it is. Lynch Adams. Yeah,
Yep.
he did more. I mean
He did.
he's
He's really blossomed into this like running back one role for us, and it's amazing. Don't get me wrong, but Nate Carter was supposed to be like this all-American level running back. He's a captain even, but he's not. I've not seen
not
nothing from him.
performing.
So
Not performing at all.
I don't know what's going on there, but Dylan Gabriel, 20 for 32, 257 yards, two
Yeah,
touchdowns,
he
two
had a good
picks
game.
though.
Two interceptions though, like
I
that, like
know.
there were so many times throughout this game. I think what makes it so frustrating is that coming into like being an underdog, you have to automatically limit like your mistakes
Yeah.
and capitalize off the mistakes that the other
No,
team gives you.
that's exactly how it has to be.
And for about the first quarter, first like I guess mid-second quarter, we were in this game. It really
Yeah.
like the score, yeah, is bad, but it still doesn't do justice to how not necessarily well we were playing, but we had chances and we didn't capitalize off those chances. Dylan
Yeah.
Gabriel threw two pigs.
I know. That's
And we just couldn't get anything going on offense
I
at
don't know.
all.
I got no words for you honestly, because I think if at that point, I mean, going back to Aiden Childs here, he only threw 154 yards, which is crazy. I mean, you can't be competitive when you're only throwing 154 yards, honestly.
Yeah.
Not in
Yeah.
our Michigan State offense, at least, unless maybe in Army's offense, you're going to be. That's a good day for you, you know. Um,
Yeah.
but no, here we need more. We truly do. And listen, I they turned off the game after like the first quarter or something like that at his own camp out because they
Game.
knew like they shut it off like I don't know. It was cool though because like I was cha-cha sliding with like Jaden Akins and stuff like that. But uh no, they shut it off and they tried getting like the vibes back up, I guess, because that was not it.
Yeah, that
Um
was definitely that would bring down my vibe.
I do want to talk about one player in specific who has looked great up until now. I think he's going to be a great draft pick as well. Chuck Charles Brantley, he's one of the picks that happened. Um,
Yeah, it's Gabe
he is
Russell.
he is having a really great year. He's
Yeah,
reading the
yes.
ball phenomenally well. I'm truly impressed with the step he's taken from last season to this season.
I think he at one point even entered the transfer portal, but I think he didn't go
Yeah,
through with
thank
it.
God he came
He
back.
did
But
enter his name into the portal. I do
yeah,
remember that. But yeah, he's had a great year so far. I don't think he's
yeah.
a lot of touchdown. He's
I know
had
that
was like
I saw his stats and they were comparing him to like Will Johnson, who's like the
yeah, I
number
saw that
one
too. I saw
corner.
that too.
And Chuck has, if not the same, a little bit better stats, which I thought was great. I'll take
He has
it.
like how many interceptions? Like three or four so far this
I
year?
think it's 4.
Something like that. Four. Okay.
So he's having a great year so far. I'm hoping he could keep it up, stay healthy as well. But
Yeah,
I do
definitely.
want to also talk about real quick picture. I know you saw it. Him going up with the Oregon
Oh yeah. I was
DBs.
curious about that. Who? So that used to be the former Michigan State
So no,
cornerback
our
coach.
DB coach now is a Michigan State alum, but last year he was Oregon's DB coach, and he recruited all those guys, and they were really close. And so
Gotcha.
that was the
Okay.
context for the picture. I saw these memes saying
Okay. Yeah.
that's the quickest way you can enter the transfer portal, but thankfully there's a little bit of context going on, you know.
Yeah. Okay. As I saw it too, and I was like, dang.
No, I saw that. I'm like, what the heck?
Yeah.
But
Okay.
no,
That
so
makes more sense now.
yeah, thankfully that's not the case. Right now at least. Yeah. So let's go into our next game here, Syracuse, versus 25 UNLV.
Told you why. Well, we were on the fence. You were on the fence last week picking
I
UNLV.
was, I was,
I
but
remember
you know
that.
what? I'm impressed because without a quarterback and without a starting running back, they found their new quarterback essentially.
Yeah.
Um,
100%.
they balled out. That was a great game, overtime finish. Um, I I ended up picking Cuse, which was the right pick, but I got to
Yeah.
say I was still blown away by UNLV.
Oh,
Um,
100%. No, they all the credit in the world to them. They had a
uh,
great game.
on
Tom
all
McCord threw
seriousness, though,
63 times. He was
I
good.
forgot Kyle McCord went there. In all seriousness,
Oh, it's a Cuse.
yeah, I totally forgot he was there
He
because I've
looks a
not watched
lot
much
better.
Cuse football this year. Um,
It's
I think that
crazy
was
because
like
he's
the
like
first game I
so
actually
far
watched.
he's balling. He's been balling out this year at Cuse. But
I
then
know. I
last
mean,
year at Ohio State, I'm like,
I'm looking at his stats right now from that last game. He had 63 passing attempts, which is
that is
just
crazy. That's
nuts. Like,
insane.
I mean, 40 for 63 is still
PTSD,
pretty good, you know?
PTSD from golf against the Bucks, but 63 is just
But no, listen, I think that was a great game, great finish. Kyle McCord went 40 for 63, 355 yards, three touchdowns, only one pick. So that's a great football game. And then even the UNLV new guy, his name's I wrote it down because I don't know him. It's Hodge Malik Williams. He went 21 for 25, which is actually insane. Three
that is
touchdowns,
very
one
good.
pick. So
Very good.
I think that UNLV quarterback's gonna bite himself in the butt, trying to say. I mean, I'm sure something actually happened, and I respect that obviously, but I think at the end of the day, you're there to play football, not make money.
Oh,
And
for sure.
I don't know that I
I like this
you know I
collision
don't like
course.
money being involved in sports really. Like
Mm,
even when it comes back to these championship level NFL teams, it's always the quarterbacks who take the pay cuts and these really good players who take the pay cuts to build better rosters that end up winning. And people like for so long were like, why is Brady winning? And it's because they
yeah,
pay
that's
everybody
why.
else.
It's
But
it's such an easy rule to follow, so you can't really like complain
yeah,
about losing when you're being so greedy and taking up all this money. I'm
no,
liking this
I
collision
agree.
course between UNLV and Boise right now. They do play in the regular season.
I know that's going to be exciting.
That should
Um,
be where game day. That should be game day. Should go to that game. I think
yeah,
that'd be a good
we'll
game.
travel out there. I mean, low key, I'd love to see
Boise.
Santi
I have been to
play.
Boise, Idaho, so I did
Yeah.
see. I think that was I did go to the field, the blue field, the blue Boise State field.
Hey,
It was pretty cool.
iconic right there, just because it's blue, but
Pretty cool. It was
it's
really cool.
beautiful. Um, I know you saw Texas A&M.
Blowout Missouri. That was
Yep.
bad. I wasn't expecting that.
That no, we both picked Missouri, I believe, for this last week graphic, but um,
I
geez,
was not
man, I
expecting that.
thought I didn't think Missouri was like I was kind of on the fence about this pick in all honesty, but I didn't think it would be like that. 41-10 is insane.
41-10 is wild.
Like you don't see that often nowadays with two ranked teams, at least. Especially Texas A&M being the lower ranked team, and for
Yeah.
them to still come out, um, is just crazy.
Vegas knew something. They were favored in the game. I don't know.
No, yeah. And then I think SMU upset Louisville, right?
SMU did upset Louisville.
So
SMU's 5-1. Their only loss coming to BYU, who I believe is
BYU.
still undefeated, and I think leading the Big 12. Let me see.
Okay,
But yeah, this
that's
is
listen.
these group of I guess these ex group of five teams, they're showing out with this new conference realignment so far.
So is on that note, real quick, is Louisville like a pretender because they lost what to Notre Dame
They did
2 weeks
lose to
ago
Notre
or something
Dame.
like that, and now they just
I think that's
lost
their
to
only loss. Yes, their only loss. Oh no, now that one. But yeah, they were up until Notre Dame game, they were undefeated. Now they're
yeah, and now is like the little downhill stretch for them. But
yeah,
so is it too early to say that they're pretenders for this year?
I think it's wraps. Like I don't think they can make a playoff.
No, yeah. I think
It's
it's going to be
just
a very
kind of too
competitive year this year, just with the 12 team playoffs.
100%.
I
100%.
saw a graphic. It was like imagine being the one seed and then having to play the winner of an Alabama Georgia playoff game. Like
Yeah, that's crazy.
that would suck. That's like I don't know. It's gonna make for some great television though, I'll tell you that much. I'm
100%.
gonna
I'm
love the
looking forward
college
to
football
it.
playoffs. Um,
Looking forward to it.
but that should be really good.
I probably would have preferred maybe like an 8 instead of a 12. We'll see how the 12
I think
goes,
it should
but
have slowly adjusted to a
yeah,
12.
slowly.
I
Not
think
just
this is
go
just
from
a
4 to
huge
12.
change off rip.
Yeah, that's a big change. So we'll
But
see how it goes.
yeah,
But
listen, it's a lot of trial and error this year with the 12 team playoff with
for sure.
NIL being allowed officially now. Um, I saw a Heisman commercial, one of those like Nissan Heisman commercials with Reggie Bush.
Yeah, the
They had
Heisman
him
House.
coming out of like the freezer. He goes, "Oh, how long was I in there?" And then it's like him and I forget who was walking him through, but they were talking about all the changes that have happened. I think it was RG3 that and him in like a Kia or Nissan or whatever sitting, and he was
Yeah.
like, "Oh yeah, like they're making TikToks now, and they got Barry doing something," and it was a pretty funny commercial, honestly. Not that often I enjoy a commercial, but the Heisman House commercials are always an exclusion.
Yeah, pretty good.
Um, little Big Ten action. Indiana won
Still
41
undefeated.
24,
Indiana's not only winning, but they're winning these games convincingly.
which makes me want to talk about how I'm nervous for when Michigan State plays them. Truly, Indiana is
Yeah.
looking good.
Yeah. I mean, they're don't get me wrong, they're better than I feel like they were last year, but
Yeah,
I still think they haven't really been tested yet. If you think about it, they beat they
that's
beat
true.
uh they beat FIU first game, they beat Western Illinois second game,
True.
UCLA third game, Charlotte, Maryland, and Northwestern.
I think Maryland might have been just look based on who they've played. I think Maryland
Probably. Yeah.
probably was the best team they've played so far because
But
Northwestern not a football school.
they've scored no less than 31 points every game,
Wow,
which is crazy.
that's crazy. Um,
So, but we'll see. They're going
we'll
to be
see.
battle tested because they have Nebraska coming up this week. I don't
Which
even know if we're a battle test anymore, but Nebraska coming up. That fall, Washington, Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State, and
yeah.
Purdue. So there's going to be
Then
some.
I wanted to talk about real quick since you mentioned Nebraska. I didn't put this on like the sheet, but Nebraska only won 14-7 against Rutgers. It- I
Oh,
think
so they did beat Rutgers.
they did. It was yeah,
Wow.
but it
Okay.
was
Okay. So
really like
Rutgers,
Rutgers is looking good. They got another guy
they
like
were. That
Pacheco,
was their first loss of the season.
at running back. And
Yeah. Trying to
listen,
think. That was their first loss of the season, though.
people keep saying the Big Ten is going to be a little whack because like with all the new joining teams and everything like that. But Nebraska's, I don't know. I mean, it was a close game, but I think Nebraska and Rutgers really showing out. And I think I think Indiana is going to be a good game between when they play Rutgers or like the Nebraska game.
Oh
So,
yeah, for sure.
unfortunately, I think we might be a loss on, um, like a loss for us. But
That's what let's skip to next season, bro.
yeah, honestly,
That's
get
next
a recruiting
season.
class in here. I think we'll be a little bit better. Get some new transfers. But next up, we got Ole Miss, South Carolina. Yikes, man. This was
Ole
a
Miss bounced
rough
back.
pick
I
for
I
us.
don't know why. I don't even know why I thought, but it bounced back
I said Ole
convincingly.
Miss originally, and then you started saying, I'm like, you know what? Maybe they'll do it. And I should have stuck my pick. Should have stuck the pick, but um,
Yeah, Ole Miss handled business after losing to Kentucky last week or
yeah.
a couple 2 weeks ago.
I thought it was interesting. Jackson Dart had no touchdown passes,
Really.
but I was one of their running backs, I think it was, had two tutties, so that worked
Okay,
out
yeah,
really
that makes
nicely for
sense.
them. Um, However, he still had a really good game, 14-27 for 285. Listen, Ole Miss is a good school. They have had runs in the past. So is South Carolina, though. I think my favorite South Carolina memory is Jadavon Clowney destroying that Michigan football running
Oh
back
yeah, the Michigan player.
years
Yeah,
ago
that's
when it was
iconic.
short. But no,
That's
listen, I
iconic.
think Ole Miss could be a contender for the playoffs if they continue to
They
play
have to win out
like
though.
this.
They
Uh,
have to win out,
yeah,
which I think will be hard for them to do because they have a hard schedule. Not.
SEC football's hard, period. But
Yeah, that's true.
I looked at Ole Miss's schedule when I was writing up some of the scores for these games, and
Yeah, like
it'll
they have
be
they
a little
have one.
struggle.
Yeah, they have three ranked opponents in the next 4 games. With
And
LSU, Oklahoma, and Georgia. So
On a side note, I think that LSU game is going to be great.
I think so.
That's this upcoming week, right?
Next week.
Next week.
Next week.
Okay, okay.
Next week. Yeah.
No,
But
that's
yeah,
what I meant,
I mean, almost bounce back.
right?
Huh?
Isn't that
No, the 12th. Oh wait, that is this week.
that
I'm
is this
tripping. I'm
weekend? What
sorry.
are you talking
I'm
about?
tripping. No, I'm thinking it's yeah. Time's
Okay,
moving
no.
fast,
I
bro.
think
I
that'll be
didn't
a
think
really
it
good
was.
football game. Hopefully,
Yeah.
Michigan. It's a Michigan State bye week this weekend, so I'll be
Oh, there's
watching
a
a lot
bye.
of football this time. But let's talk about a crazy game, yeah. Something I didn't think
No one saw it happen.
anybody. Um, but I'll tell you what,
Like this, that was so like I saw the score and I was like, "Are you serious?" Like
I
that was
was I was
insane to me.
confused in all honesty. I thought I read it wrong, but um, I think that game was amazing. I mean, it sucks because Bama lost, but Bama Vandy was uh I mean, listen, I saw the second the game ended, I saw so many memes about that one guy like 5, 6, 7 years
Oh
ago. He's
yeah.
like, when you come into Vanderbilt, we're still SEC football, blah, blah, blah. And then he tweeted out after the game, never late, never never wrong, just
Oh,
early.
just late. Yeah.
That was amazing. Like I thought that was really
I think
funny.
the fact that it was Vanderbilt just made it like so
No,
like
I
not
know.
ironic, but it's like Vanderbilt has been the laughing stock of SEC football for years.
No,
So
they have. I
if it would have
think
been like Mississippi State, like or just literally any other SEC team, I would have been like, that's surprising, but is SEC. But the fact that it was Vanderbilt, that's when I was like, wow.
no, I know. At the end of the day, I saw some really cool things saying they were fined 100K for their first time offense for rushing the
Oh
field,
yeah.
first of all. But they're actually auctioning off pieces of the field goal that was torn down, which is
Goalposts.
crazy. I'm assuming it's probably just going right towards the NIL deal, but they could probably write it off as like oh, it's for charity because it's getting at the end of the day, a lot of these schools are like publicly funded, so it's like
Yeah.
well, it's whatever. But Jalen Milrow, 18 for 24, 310 passing yards, one touchdown, one pick, 10 rushing yards, and one rushing touchdown. So he did have a fumble. So he two total turnovers for him. Um, I put
Does
on
his
here,
Heisman stock drop for you a little bit after this game?
yes, it
Yeah,
does.
me too.
I think my Heisman front runner was the guy we talked about a ton last week, but we'll get into that a little bit later. I think I'd still consider Jalen Milrow top four.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I just think there's a couple guys better than him. Um, but
Bama's still in the
I don't
playoff
know.
race, but they
I agree.
do probably, in terms of like a top 10 team, they probably have the worst loss though.
That one is definitely the has to be the worst
Yeah,
because
because Georgia lost to
no.
Bama. I'm trying to think who else in the top 10 who
Does
lost.
that make Georgia's loss worse?
Yes.
I mean, it's still to
It
Bama, but that Bama team lost to
does. It's
Vandy.
still to Bama, but yeah. They definitely have like, yeah, yeah. I don't even know. Let me see. I'm trying to think. Yeah, they definitely have the worst loss in the top 10. If you look at like all the one-loss
I
teams in
agree.
the top 10, they have, I mean, the only other one-loss team is Georgia. And
That's
yeah,
too Bama though.
Georgia's to Bama, Tennessee. At least they lost to Arkansas. Which I consider Arkansas a little better than Vandy, but
I
maybe not
agree.
anymore. But yeah.
No, I
And
think
then
that makes it the worst.
Clemson lost to Georgia. They're number 10.
10.
So that doesn't, it's still better. So I'd rather lose to Georgia, Bama, or Arkansas
I'd
over
rather lose
Vandy.
some probably every other SEC team than
Yeah, but
Vandy, in all
Vanderbilt, like,
honesty. Their
beats.
quarterback balled out though. He went 16 for 20, 252 yards, no picks, two tutties. Someone I
I
was
don't know if I
actually,
mentioned this. He's the
huh?
fastest quarterback. I don't know if it was like last
Yeah,
week or the
no, I
week or
think you
2 weeks
did.
ago. Yeah,
He's the
he's the fastest
fastest guy
quarterback in
in
college football.
NCAA.
Yeah, fastest
I,
quarterback in
I did not
NCAA. I'm
realize that, but
gonna start playing with Vandy now.
I saw some story while they were talking about the game about how like Johnny Manziel like, inspired him, and that was pretty cool. Like to keep playing football because he was on a wrestling scholarship or something like that.
Right.
And then he kept wanting to play football. But um, someone I was truly impressed with was Jam Miller, the running back for Bama. He only had 5 carries for 45 yards, 9 touchdowns, or not 9 yard average, 2 touchdowns. I apologize. Oh, a little slip up there. Put him in the Heisman running if he had 9. But no. listen, it was a good game. It really was. And
Did you
there was
watch it?
huh?
Did you watch it or just saw the final
I
score?
watched like the second half, I think.
Okay.
Not maybe not the full second half, but I was I didn't believe it. So
No one did. I don't think anyone saw that coming.
no.
Anyone.
Um let me rephrase. I tried to watch it. I won't lie. I tried to watch most of it, but um next up we got Tennessee. Uh number 4 Tennessee, which lost to Arkansas, like we were just talking about. That was a
Jeez. These
close one,
upsets.
19-14. What's happening here? All these good
There,
teams.
there's
What's up with this?
there's no, it's in my opinion, I don't think there's not a clear cut, and maybe there is, but I don't think there's a clear cut number one team in the
I
country right now.
disagree. I think Texas is I don't I think they're the team to beat. I truly do.
They are. I mean, yeah, obviously they're really good. They're number one, they're undefeated. They probably even their win against Michigan, yeah, it was at the big house, but that win's starting to dampen down less and less
It
now.
is. I mean, that
I
I'm not
just
complaining about it. I'm going to be
I'm not
very clear
complaining,
about
yeah.
that.
It's
But
just
let's talk about scum, yeah? Since
yeah.
they lost to Washington 27-17. No longer playoff eligible, which is amazing.
No, yeah,
Um,
not
so
at
that's what
all.
third loss, right?
I was so happy. Remember, we both picked Michigan. I said it. I told you. Sometimes when I
Nope.
make a pick, the
Yep.
opposite happens. That's
You
why I
did say
picked
that.
Michigan to win, and I will take that L on
I'll
my
take it every
record
day
of
of the week,
picks.
honestly.
I'll take that L on my record of number
They
picks
rotated
any
in they rotated in their third quarterback for the season.
Jeez.
Um, I think they're gonna have some problems. Listen, I don't think Sharon Moore is that good of a coach. I didn't think he was last year either when he took over for Harbaugh for what was it, like the 2 games or something?
Yeah, like I mean, yeah, you beat Penn State, but it's that you were
That
just like
when
the
you
players.
when you have that their team last year was very talented, right?
Yeah, they were talented. They had
And
experience. They were vets. It's like,
and they cheated. I mean,
shouldn't they
should we well, let's not talk about that because I hate that. It's only going to get forfeited at some point. But no, listen, Washington, I've not heard much about this year because Penix left. Penix was actually at this game. Um,
he was. I did
they
see him.
panned to him a couple times with the camera, but they look good. They really did. I
Washington did.
yeah. I mean, not like the Washington from last year, good, but they did
Yeah.
look good. So, with that being said, I think we should go talk about Miami, who, oh my God, I don't know if you watched that one.
Thriller,
That was
thriller. That was a thriller. Cal played out of their
wow.
mind. I'm not gonna lie. Props to Cal. I've never
No, I
seen
know. Cal impressed me so much here. I didn't think they were going to be like that.
him either.
Didn't
I
we?
didn't.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure we said it. This could be like a belt to ass like nominee for
You
this
did
week.
say that.
Um,
College football. This is why I like college football, bro. You really
exactly.
never know. This is like this week, this whole week, all the upsets and just
I mean, look at NIU going in upsetting Notre Dame. I
yeah,
I love
then losing to Buffalo these next week, like
I love college football because
college football.
anything can truly happen. I mean, whether it's a fumbling of a snapper that changes the whole course of a game, or just a pure domination from some random school you've never even heard of, it is
100%.
amazing. I mean,
I agree. Yeah.
if you would have told me Cal would be a top 10 ranked team this year, I would have been a little shocked at the beginning of the year. I don't know much about Cal, but I know the history of Cal. They ain't that good, not to my knowledge at least. But Miami was down 25 points, which is crazy, and they came back and won 39-38. So, listen, Cam Ward, how's his Heisman standing changed for you?
It's above Milrow. For
Above
me,
Monroe?
I think it's above Milrow. I think he took it.
I agree.
I think he got above. I mean, he had a first of all, he won
He did win.
after traveling not just one, but coast to coast, literally Miami to California conference game, which I never thought I'd ever say. But
Hmm.
he had a great game, 35 of 53, 437, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Yeah,
Uh, I thought that was yeah, a great game. He's been playing great all season.
I agree.
But this was a yeah, I Milrow has two. It's just Right
Listen,
now,
I
probably.
think Cam Ward's really in the spotlight right now because I mean, not only is his team doing great, but
Yeah.
I didn't hear him too much at Washington State when he was there last year. And I think
Didn't?
huh?
You say you did or didn't?
I did not.
Okay.
But I think he's really showing making a case for the Heisman. Um,
Oh yeah.
but we'll see who ends up with it. I mean, it's a long season. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Look at
He's
wasn't
my
Jordan
number three right
Travis,
now.
wasn't
He's my
Jordan
number
Travis like in the top 5 for voting or something like that, and then he tore his leg,
yeah,
and that
or
was it
something.
for
Yeah.
him. Um, but let's talk about the last little game or second to last game. I apologize. USC also out of
USC is
playoff
fraudulent.
eligible
USC is
ability.
awful. They are
Yeah,
fraudulent. And I really don't think any Lincoln Riley team, they've been good. Don't get me wrong. Lincoln Riley, he's made playoff appearances with with Oklahoma and
yeah.
stuff. He never really got past that semifinal round. But it's just whenever I think of Lincoln Riley, I think of offensive mastermind and just a defensive crap show
Which
because his
I mean,
teams are never physical. His offenses,
yeah,
when they do good, his offenses are carried by I think he's coached like three three Heisman quarterbacks with Baker,
yep,
Kyler, and
yep,
Caleb.
yep.
And I think, yeah, when you have that, your offense is always going to be overpowered. You're going to always
It's
probably get to that playoff stage, but you're not going to get further than that. His defense is just abysmal, bro. They're not physical. They just get bullied and manhandled by every team, and you can't win like that. You can't just have an offense.
I want to
Nah.
go on and say it's easy to win games when your quarterback helps out like that. And
Yeah,
that you know what's even crazier is they were all first overall picks.
yeah,
So that just
right.
goes to show the talent. But he may be like a quarterback whisperer, sure, but
Yeah. Anything
he
else?
can't get anything else. I'm a little surprised, honestly. He's still. I think if they lose another game, he might seriously have a hot seat situation going on because
You think so?
I don't know how you stay there if you're not winning football games. You know,
Yeah, that's
especially with how
true.
good USC was supposed to be last year, and now they were ranked pretty highly this year coming into it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
Already being playoff
until
ineligible. I don't know.
I don't think US is gonna give him up that, especially from when they hired him, all the incentives and money they gave him. I feel like
No.
because yeah, he's done bad. He's probably done an underwhelming job to USC. Like I get that, but they probably expected him to make a playoff and
Yeah,
top 10 teams, top five teams, be in a top 10, top five position. He hasn't delivered any of that. But at the same time, it's like he hasn't had a losing season,
but it's
things of that nature.
Minnesota.
He's always made a bowl game. No, I agree. It
But it's
is Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Really bad.
So,
They're really bad.
so at what point do you think he needs to be on the way out then?
I think if he doesn't make the playoff first year in the Big Ten, if he doesn't make the playoff
Because let's real quick
next year, I
on
think
that note,
he's wraps. I think it's
let's
wraps. If he doesn't make
let's
the
talk
playoff
about their
next year,
upcoming schedule. All right,
what is it? Who they got?
Penn State this week,
Well, that's a loss.
loss. Maryland,
That's a win. Maryland's
okay.
awful.
Then they play
We beat Michigan State beat Maryland.
Rutgers,
Rutgers can be a loss. Rutgers good.
Rutgers, Washington,
That's a toss up.
and then
I
they
think
play
they'll win.
Nebraska,
I think they'll win that one.
UCLA,
Maybe.
they'll win,
UCLA's awful.
and then
UCLA's
to end the
awful.
season they got Notre Dame.
Yeah, they'll lose that game for sure.
So they
Yeah, they might lose three or four more games.
it,
I didn't think
so
it
at what
like
point for you? At
you're
what point
right.
does he become in the hot seat?
What year is this for him at USC?
Let's look it up.
Because I think he got there when we were in high school.
Oh my God.
Actually, was he?
So he signed a 10-year. He had a 10-year contract. Trying to see when he signed it. He got to USC in 2021. So this is his third year.
So yeah, it was high school for us.
Yeah.
Okay. And in that time, he hasn't made a playoff.
No,
I think he went to the Pac-12 championship maybe once.
which really isn't that. impressive in my opinion.
Yeah,
I mean,
just making an
look at the
appearance.
whole state of the Pac-12
He didn't
now.
even win it. Yeah, he didn't even win it. I think it was just an appearance, a championship appearance.
Who won it? Was it Oregon or something?
I think it
Or
was Utah.
Washington? Utah.
I think when they made it, I think it was
Okay.
Utah. Because Washington won it last year. Utah won it a couple of years ago. Yeah.
I gotcha.
Oh my gosh. No, that's a good point. I didn't think about that. Yeah. I don't know if I could wait until next year.
Listen, I think he would
Gotta
make.
start having these talks this year.
I want to reiterate. I think he would make an amazing offensive coordinator. I do.
Oh, 100%. That's it. That's
I
it.
mean,
Oh
if you
my
look at
gosh.
who
He's
he
making
can
a wonderful.
recruit offensively, but he clearly can't figure it out on defense. And I'm sure he's not making the play calls for defense.
Here's what I want to happen.
But they need someone else then to do that.
Here's what I want to happen. I want
Bring
I
in
want him to get
Belichick.
fired.
No.
I want him to get fired this offseason. I want after the Lions win the Super Bowl, I want Ben Johnson to take a head coaching job at some other NFL team and we pick him up as our OC.
Like the Jets, Ben Johnson. We'll talk about this in the NFL thing, but
Right.
Salo was just fired earlier today. So
He was.
who knows? We'll talk about that next episode. But okay, so at the end of the year, you think he could?
If he doesn't, but their record right now is what?
They are let's see here. They beat LSU, so 1-0. Beat Utah State 2-0. Lost to Michigan 2-1. Beat Wisconsin 3-1. Lost to Minnesota. So they're 3-2 right now.
And it's a very good chance they lose another 3, 4 games. So we're
Okay,
talking
so
about
let's just walk through
7-5,
it game
six
by
and
game for them.
six.
Let's walk through
So
it game
they're
by
three
game.
and they're
Penn
this is
State lost. That's 3-3.
They're 3-2 right now, right?
3-2.
Okay, let's go.
Penn State lost.
That's 3-3. 3-3. Yeah, still losing.
Maryland
Win 4-3.
4-3. Rutgers
4-4.
4-4. Washington. It's a toss up for me.
Toss up. It can go either way. Say 4-5. Just worst case scenario.
Okay.
Say 4-5.
Hypothetically, 4-5.
Hypothetically,
Nebraska.
4-5. I think it could be Nebraska. We'll go 5
Okay,
and
so
5.
5-5. UCLA 6-5. Notre Dame 6-6.
6-6. That's what I'm saying. Like at worst, I feel like they can. Well, not even at worst. Like I think the best they can finish is probably like 7-5, and I think
Yeah.
that's subpar for a coach like him in a program like USC.
I agree, 100%. I mean, he's obviously I'm not making the decisions, nor are you. But I think at the end of the year, I think he needs to be in the hot seat come 2-3 weeks. Because Penn State,
Yeah.
I don't even think they have a chance. But we'll see. I mean, that could be wrong. I'm wrong all the time. But I think that's a loss. I truly do. I think if they somehow lose to Maryland, he needs to be in serious discussions with.
I think he should. I think discussions will come up about it if he's any worse than 8-4 by the end of the season.
I agree.
That's what I'm saying. Any worse than 8-4.
So say he finishes 7-5.
Yes, talks need to be had.
You think he comes back for another year and they'll just get rid of him in the middle of the season next year, maybe? Depending on if he can turn it around over off season.
Yeah, I can see that happening for sure.
Okay.
7-5, yeah. I can see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's been too long at too good of a program to not have what you need to have at this point. Because
especially when you're
especially the transfer portal, first of all.
Yeah, portal.
But
you came from Oklahoma where you made 2 number 1 overall picks, 2 Heisman winners. You made the playoff probably like 2-3 times.
Yeah.
In the 14 playoff, and now you're struggling.
He's a good offensive mind. He really is, but
yeah, but
even their offense has some struggles still.
Defense wins championships.
It does. So, going on to our last game here, that we took a little 180 segment turn there, but I like it. Utah, Boise State. This is belt to ass.
Utah or Utah State?
Utah State.
Oh, okay.
Boise won 62-30.
Yeah, Boise looks like they're gonna. I got Boise making the group of 5 lock.
Yeah,
the playoffs. That's what it's looking like. I don't. Bro, Genty is ridiculous. 1,000 yards.
I agree.
In what, like 5 games?
Which is why I want to mention he's going to be our player of the week. 100%. I put a whole bunch of stats in here for just him because I don't even want to mention anybody else from that Boise State game because of how good he is performing. Yeah, no. Through 5 games, 95 carries, over 1,000 yards already, 16 touchdowns with a 10.9 average rushing yard, which is just crazy. Um,
Averaging
listen,
first
he had
down
13
every
carries last
time
game.
you touch the ball is ridiculous.
It's not fair, honestly. It really is not. But 13 carries, 186 yards with a 14.3 average, 3 touchdowns. The first play of the game that he had, or let me first, his first play of the game where he had the ball was a touchdown. Like what? And then he had a 75 yard touchdown as well in the game.
Like, do you know like where he came from? Like, what year is this? Has he
I
been
think
at
this is his
Boise?
third
Is
year.
he a transfer?
I think this
Really?
is
So
his
he
third
just
year. He's been with Boise all 3 years, I
blossoms.
believe.
Oh
Um,
wow. Okay. So
so
just blossom.
I saw some article and it was like an interview with him saying how like a whole bunch of teams offered him a ton of NIL money, but he wanted to stick it out with Boise, which I love. You do not see loyalty anymore. You really don't. It's it's really disappearing in professional and college now with NIL. It's a lost art, and he said he wants to pick legacy over money because legacy lasts forever. His face will be on that building
Yeah,
or
like
the
he'll
school
be remembered
forever.
as he's already a Boise State legend, honestly.
I agree.
So
Um,
yeah, he'll be remembered
just
for
to
that.
for some comparison numbers though, the last 3 running backs that won the Heisman, um, through 5 games. In 2015 was Derrick Henry and through 5 games, I want you to put in perspective, he had 93 carries, 570 yards, and 9 rushing touchdowns, significantly
Okay.
less and almost half of the amount of yards. Mark Ingram, 2009, 83 carries, 487 yards, and 6 rushing touchdowns. And then 2005 was Reggie Bush with 71 carries, 601 yards, and 6 rushing touchdowns. And that's just through
Wow.
5 games. That's we are watching something very special right now. I truly think.
Awesome. Do you think they're gonna hold it against them that he's not in like a Power Five?
No, I don't. I mean, maybe a little, but you got to remember Barry Sanders won the Heisman at Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State's Power Five though.
Are they really? No,
Yeah.
I was convinced they weren't.
No,
Lately, it
Oklahoma State is Power Five.
doesn't seem like they're any good. Which also I want to compare. Barry Sanders, when he won the Heisman, had 130 carries through 5 games, which is also insane. Um,
Mhm.
but he had 1,002 yards and 17 touchdowns. So he had one more touchdown, and a little less yardage though.
Yeah, and but he had more attempts too per K, like more.
Significantly more, yeah.
Yeah.
Almost 40 more, actually, which is
Yeah, Genty's
crazy.
a dog.
But and then the last thing I got about John T is if he gained 10 yards every single rush for the rest of the season, his average yards per carry would go down. That's insane. In football, you're taught 3 yards is what you need on every play. 3 yards is a good rushing average. Anything over 3.5, you are a good running back.
Yeah.
His average
How,
is
how does that
10.9.
how does that make sense, bro? Like this is it actually might be his to lose right now.
I gotta be honest, as a defensive coordinator, how are you not? You know they put QB spies, right? How are you not having a running back spy, someone on him every single play? I want my
Yeah.
best like linebacker, my best corner, whatever it is, best safety. I want someone matching up with him on every single play. I'm changing my formations just for someone to stay on him because he should not be getting this open and this like off the line because he's a running back. It's not even like he's
Yeah.
creating space off like a pass. He's getting it from the line of scrimmage, which is crazy to me.
Yeah, he's a dog. He's a dog. It's not even funny. And it's not even about like he's doing this like there's stuff he's like a physical specimen. Like I'm
Yeah.
seeing he's throwing defenders, he's running through people, he's fast,
Yeah.
stiff arming the crowd. Like he's they're I feel like they have to be doing something, but he's still finding a way to get out of it
You know what's
and make
crazy
it
though?
happen.
And I didn't know I found this out the other day when I was looking at his stats. He's only 5'9".
Yeah, he's my height.
He's 215 though. So
Okay, yeah. He is about
he might have a little bit of weight on you.
like 70 pounds.
But no, that's crazy. At his side, like if you would have told me his numbers at 6'3", 240, like a Derrick Henry type running back,
Yeah.
I would get that. But this guy's he's not that big, right?
Yeah,
So it's
it's
not like
not.
he's just very talented. I don't want to diminish anything. He's very talented, which leads me
Yes.
with segues right into I think he's the Heisman favorite.
Yeah, he probably has to be. I'm trying to. Yeah.
I pulled up the official Heisman odds from Vegas yesterday. And at the time, Ashton Janti is plus 220, and he's the favorite, current favorite.
Maybe right now.
And he was plus 3,300
Just imagine
the week
taking that
prior.
bet in the season.
I wish. Can't legally
Have
bet yet in the state of Michigan though. So,
to.
um, but no, yeah, so he's plus 220. And Travis Hunter's actually second place right now in the voting with
Second,
plus
yeah.
320.
I knew Milrow was gonna drop. I knew Milrow was gonna drop.
Yeah, he went to fourth, which is kind of what I was thinking he would go to. Because Cam Ward's now third. Um,
Yeah, okay.
and then the fifth place was Dylan Gabriel for Oregon. He didn't improve too much. He only went from plus 1,600 to 1,400. But
I don't think he can win it after the Michigan State game.
I he would have to have a great rest of the year to win it.
Like a
But truly,
perfect,
but also
perfect
you have to
receiver.
factor in that Jonty would have to have a season-ending injury. Travis
Yeah,
Hunter would have to, I don't know, suck for the rest of the year on both sides of the ball. And then Cam Ward and Milrow would have to just have a couple more losses.
yeah, I
But
agree.
I truly believe it's Ashton Jonty's to lose. And it's really not even close right now. I'm surprised the odds are even that close for Travis Hunter.
Yeah, that is kind of crazy. That's really crazy to think about.
But don't get me wrong,
That's really,
Travis Hunter's a great player as well. I think we talked about him in either the first or second week's episodes. Um, he's very gifted as well, both sides
he's
of
a
the
dog.
ball. I think he's a better
I
corner
think these
receiver, but
two, yeah, I think John T and Hunter are like the two most gifted out this top five list of
oh yeah,
Heisman favorites right now.
we are seeing a new wave of like athleticism from some of these guys. Um, I don't think it's uncommon, but I think it's just these guys are put in the right system to cater
Oh
towards
yeah,
their
100%.
athletic ability. Because obviously, every program has these insanely athletic guys. I remember looking
Yeah,
at Donovan Peoples Jones, pro day. He like broke like 3 records or some crazy thing like that. Um, but I don't know, he didn't
yeah,
showcase
it
it
speaks a
enough,
lot
I guess.
because they're not at like these powerhouse schools like Milrow is at
Yeah,
and stuff. They're like at Bama, Georgia, Texas type school. They're at Colorado and Boise
Colorado,
State.
Boise, yeah, and I don't know. I
The
mean, the other three make
Heisman.
sense. Those are big power, great schools.
Yeah,
Really powerhouses in football always have been Miami, Oregon, and Bama. But I think I'm gonna keep saying it. It's Jonte's to lose, in my opinion, right now.
yeah, I agree.
Even if he took a game off, I still think he would be the favorite
Probably,
because his
especially
stats.
he'll especially be the favorite too if they make the playoff, which they should.
I just want to look real quick before we get into our picks here. So I'm looking at the all the rushing stats right now for college football. And the
Yeah,
second place guy is Caleb Johnson from Iowa, who has 97 attempts with only 771 yards. Wait, that kid. Okay, yeah. And then he has 10 touchdowns. So that's a 6 touchdown difference and a little less than 300 yards difference.
yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah. John T is ridiculous.
Yeah. Johnson's not bad though, don't get me wrong. But Jonty is, geez, it's crazy. Some of these guys have 137 attempts. Oh my God. That's UNC's running back. But I don't know. All right, so we got our first guest picker on this week, episode 4. We got Parker, one of my roommates, one of my friends from middle school. What's up, Parker?
Hey guys doing?
I don't like the shirt, man.
Pleasure to be here. Hey, go
Hey
Ducks.
Parker, where do you attend college at?
Michigan State.
Oh,
But I mean it's our bye week this week, so I got to support the next best school.
okay.
You know, the mighty O.
Just for some context, real quick, Parker. He wanted to wear an Oregon shirt to his own camp out.
No, that's ridiculous.
Okay. Well, first of all, the Oregon shirt. Hey, EK, it was like a little O right here in the top.
Yeah, it's one of those like Nike
Would have
shirts,
known.
a little O,
They
but it
still
had
would
a
have
back
known.
design.
Everyone would have known.
Yeah. Well, guess who won? Doesn't matter.
Where do you go to school?
Which school?
Oh,
Who's
okay.
taking your money year after year,
It was a
semester
win-win.
after semester? When you graduate and you get that, when you get your degree, is it going to say Oregon University or Michigan State?
Probably Michigan State, funded by Oregon.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's how it works.
Yeah, it does.
But all right, let's get into the picks here, yeah?
Yeah, I mean,
Do it.
So, first matchup, we have 16 ranked Utah versus Arizona State. Parker, we'll let you go first since you're the guest.
yeah, I think it's gonna be a fun one. I mean, Cam Rising's been injured for the beginning of the year, and I think it's played a role in their team. I mean, they only have one loss in the year, but it was a disappointing loss last week to Arizona at
Yeah.
home. At home, like you can't do that. But I don't know. I mean, Arizona State's only loss was on the road at Texas Tech. Texas Tech is not a bad school. They're always in the mix to mess things up. But with that being said, give me ASU on a Friday night to win it.
I like it. I do, because I have the same pick. I think Arizona State's going to do really good. They had a good win last week. Close win, but good win. And Utah's coming off the loss to Arizona, so I don't know how they'll bounce back off that. But I think Arizona's hot right now, and I think they're going to keep being hot. So give me
Arizona
ASU
State.
as well.
Sorry,
Arizona State.
they're
I
playing
said it.
Arizona.
Huh?
You said Arizona. A couple
I meant
times.
ASU. My bad. Mixing it all up. I ruined the whole thing. No, I'm playing. What you got, Evan?
Utah. I think they're going to bounce back this week. I think one of the best defenses in the geez, I keep wanting to say Pac-12 in the Big 12. They didn't have that loss last week to Arizona, fortunately. But I do think they bounce back, even though Cam Rising doesn't like to play football. Give me. I think it's gonna be a grudge match. I think Utah will. I think it's gonna be a 3-point game. Give me Arizona by 3. I mean, sorry, not Arizona. Utah. Give me Utah by 3.
I mean, I'm looking at it right now. It's according to ESPN's FPI analytics, it's a 50-50 shot, but they got
Wow.
Utah favored by 3 in the books. So
See,
It's gonna be a good one.
ESPN gets their information from me.
Yeah, for sure. All right, next up we got Clemson versus Wake Forest. Clemson's ranked 10th, and they're coming off a win against FSU. Parker?
I mean, they're coming off 4 straight wins, I'm pretty sure, right? Ever since
Yeah.
they lost to Georgia.
Yep.
I mean, I think that game, I don't think that was the true Clemson that we should have seen that first week, but I don't know, they just been balling, and Wake Forest is actual butt. Like they're not good at all. They lost
Yeah.
to Ole Miss 40-6. So with that being said, I think Clemson walks in there and wins by 18 plus.
18 plus. I like it. I agree. I think Clemson is a good run game. I truly think they're running back at 25 carries with 154 yards last week. His name's Phil Maffa. I kind of like that last name. But no, they did win against FSU, and I think their quarterback Cade played really well. Give me Clemson as well. Evan?
Clemson by 21. Next question.
21. Wow.
What was
Okay.
that, huh?
I like it. I like it a lot, honestly. I'm not sure what the line is right now for that game, but I also have Clemson winning by
Clemson minus 20.5.
20 and a half. Low key, I'm rocking with the 21 as well. I don't even think it's gonna be close. I think this one's gonna be a blowout.
It's gonna be close. I don't think it's gonna be close. I'm not covering.
Next, we got South Carolina at 7 Bama.
I know you guys already talked about this, but like, what was Alabama doing? I told Zach last week before you guys talked about it that Vanderbilt was their trap game this year, and
Yep.
they fell for it. So, but
Never would have thought it would have happened, but
yeah, but I mean, like everyone gets a bad loss eventually, and this
Yep.
just happened to be Kalen DeBoer. That's that coach's
Yep.
first name.
Yeah.
It just happens to be his, and hopefully he learns from it. But South Carolina, they had an unfortunate loss against LSU a couple weeks ago and tried to bounce back. But quarterback was supposed to be back last week, but I'm not sure if he ever actually played against Ole Miss. And with that being said, I think Alabama comes back at home and favored by 22.5. They shut the college football world up and say, hey, that was a mistake last week. We played a really good quarterback and a hungry Vanderbilt team, but we're here to prove who we are and keep us in the conversation. So I take Bama.
Okay, I agree right there with you. South Carolina only putting up 3 points against Ole Miss is a real turnoff for me on them this week. I was pretty optimistic about them last week against Ole Miss. That clearly did not work out at all. I think after that rough game they had against Vandy, I think they're going to bounce back, and I think they're going to bounce back with some pride, some pep in their step. They're going to show everybody what Alabama football is at the end of the day, and I think they're going to whoop South Carolina, whether they have their quarterback or not. So give me Bama.
Yeah, Bama imploded against Vandy last week. Not the best play from Milrow. Still pretty good game by Ryan Williams, but overall, they didn't look like themselves. Probably coming off their high horse from Georgia and everything. So I don't see South Carolina beating Bama after a loss like that to Vandy at home. Yeah, especially only scoring 3 against Ole Miss. Give me Bama convincingly.
I like it. The next game we got is Stanford versus 11 Notre Dame.
So, I mean, for me, Stanford, their only like true win to me was against Syracuse at Syracuse. I think it was week 2. Other than that, they beat Cal Poly.
Hey, you've never heard of them?
No, hey, no, not.
Neither have the people that go there.
But I just don't think Stanford's built for it, and they got destroyed by Clemson, destroyed by Virginia Tech, and ever since Notre Dame lost to NIU, they've turned it up. They beat Purdue by 60. They beat other teams by 20. They beat a good Louisville team last week by 7. So it's Notre Dame's game to lose. So give me Notre Dame.
I agree. I think Riley Leonard looked great against Louisville last week. He went 17 for 23, which was great and really efficient, honestly. I had 2 touchdowns, 163 yards. And even their wide receiver had a really good game, Jaden Greathouse. I think Notre Dame, since the NIU loss, has proven they're still Notre Dame football at the end of the day. Stanford, I honestly not heard anything about lately. I have not heard of Stanford football being good in a minute. But give me Notre Dame.
Yeah, Stanford, 26-point loss to Clemson, lost to Virginia Tech, and I guess a not too terrible TCU team, but I don't see them walking in the South Bend and beating Notre Dame. So I'll take Notre Dame.
Notre
So I
Dame.
got a question. Spread's 23.5 right now. What are you taking?
I'm taking the over. I think they go 24 at least.
So you think
They're not covering. They're not covering. I don't think they're covering.
No, I don't know. I think they've been hot, and I think they're going to keep riding it. I think we see a nice little game out of Riley Leonard. Maybe throw his hat in the Heisman. Closer in the Heisman running after this one. You?
I mean, they're a good football team. I'll put it that way. I don't think they've got the true standout player, but you don't need it. Clearly, I mean, some teams have been pulling. Everyone's been pulling their weight, so.
I gotcha. Next up, I think it's going to be a decent game. Not really though. Number 1 Texas at 18 Oklahoma with Quinn Ewers supposed to be back. By the way, just want to point that out.
So, just want to start with the spread is 14.5 in favor of Texas. Love that. Love that. But it's the Red River rivalry. It's one of the biggest and most historic rivalries in all of college football. So I would put that like Oklahoma is going to show up.
Yep.
It might be like similar to Iowa and Ohio State this last week, where it was 7-0 at the end of the first half, and then Ohio State opened the gates. But I know I've heard Oklahoma has had some QB struggles, benched a player or two, and I just think Texas gets up early like they did at Michigan, and they don't look back and they just run away with it.
I agree. I think Texas truly is the team to beat this year. They're they were my favorites coming into the season to win it all. I still think they are my favorite to win it all. I think despite the rivalry game, I think it's still going to be a pretty big margin of win. 14 though, I think they win by 14. I don't know if it's more than that though. I think with Quinn Ewers back, that'll play a nice role. Arch Manning got it all done though when he needed to. I mean, granted the teams he was playing against wasn't as good as Oklahoma, but I still think Texas wins this one.
Yeah, neutral site, Dallas in the Cotton Bowl. I think Oklahoma will cover. I don't think Texas is going to win by, we said 14 and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not winning by more than 14. Rivalry game, people, it's a little bit different feel, both sides of the ball. I think they play harder, but Texas with eras back. Would your guys picks change if Arch was starting?
No.
I don't think so. I think Texas is too
He's
much of a
proven it.
powerhouse right now.
He's proven
Yeah,
it.
I like Texas.
I like it.
I take Texas.
I like it. Next, we got California at 22 Pitt.
Oh man, don't get me started on California. I don't know if Zach told you UK, but I decided to join along off to the side last week with your guys' games, and I ended up going 7-3. My three losses all lost by a combined 9 points. And
Goodness.
Cal was one of them. They lost by one, and man, that was so disappointing to me. And I think they're a better football team than what their record shows. I mean, they lost to a horrific Florida State team at Florida State, though. So I mean, they travel across the country. I get it, but they got that dog in them. But with that being said, Pitt's 5-0. Their quarterback is the first quarterback at Pittsburgh since Dan Marino to start his first 5 games and win them all. So I
Wow.
just think they're rolling. Give me Pitt at home.
You took a little 180 on your direction you were taking there. I really thought you were going to say Cal on that note.
Me
Give
too.
me,
You
give
had the
me.
build up and everything, like a little Pat McAfee 180 there.
Oh yeah.
But no, I agree. I think Pittsburgh's been hot, 5-0 on the season. Cal looked great. They really did. Last week at least. That's the only one I've really paid attention for them. But I think Pittsburgh they're hot, and I think they're going to continue to be hot. However, I think sooner or later they're going to have a trap game coming up. I looked at their schedule a little bit earlier. But for right now, give me Pitt.
I'm gonna go with Cal this game. I think Cal bounces back. I think this will be Pitt's hardest game, honestly. At home, I like Cal. This will be like 12:30 for them, so it's not too bad of a game. Across the country will be a little rough, but I will take the California Bears after fumbling and folding last week against the U.
Yep.
Bad. They
So
should
that's
have
a
won.
3-point favorite for Pitt, just but
It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a close one. I think it'll come down to like a field goal or a touchdown game.
Yeah.
yeah.
But moving on, we got Florida versus 8 Tennessee.
Okay, give me a second. I gotta find my notes for this one. Tennessee's coming off a bad. I mean, I don't want to say bad loss. Arkansas is giving teams a run for their money, but like, come on, you can't score. I think it was like 6 or 9 or something against Arkansas. So Florida's butt. Stop playing Mertz, put Lagway in, and maybe you'll have a chance. But Tennessee will bounce back, and yeah, give me the Volunteers at night. It's a 7 o'clock game for them. So
I like it. I agree. They actually won. It was lost last week, 19-14. Only putting up 2 touchdowns is a little crazy. I know Arkansas has been competitive this year. However, Tennessee's look great. Their quarterback, I'm forgetting his name, but he's been Nico, yes.
Yeah, Nico.
Not even gonna try and say his last name, but
Nico Maliba.
I'm sure that was close. But no, I like Nico. I'm rocking with him right now. Give me Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee at home at night, playing in Neyland at night is always tough. Florida's really bad. Give me Tennessee. They bounce back.
Before we win, though, quick appreciation for their running back. He's had a quiet year. Like he's averaging over 6 yards a carry, 587 yards, and 12 TDs. I mean,
That's pretty good.
Florida State running back is taking all the world by storm.
Hard.
Like,
It's hard to appreciate other running backs right now.
Yeah,
But
but
he's doing what he's doing.
I like to point out he's got good numbers through 5 or 6 games here, and
Absolutely.
but
Next up, we got Purdue at 23, Illinois.
is Purdue even a football team? Like, come on. Illinois.
Can we all just unanimously like Purdue is actually go to the next game? We all are picking Illinois next game.
I
Please.
agree. I agree.
Purdue is not worth. I'm sorry.
Illinois
Purdue
is
is not
winning by
worth more
30.
than.
Purdue was worth talking
Purdue's
about
not
when they
more
had
than-
Drew Brees, though.
Purdue
When
is
Drew
not
Brees was
more
there like
worth
a million
talking
years
about.
ago.
Purdue's not more worth talking about than saying the name. Illinois. We're all Illinois. Next question.
I
Come
like
on.
it. I like it. Next one also might be a little unanimous. We'll see here, though. Penn State ranked 4th in the country at USC.
Is it at USC? I thought it was at Penn State.
Oh, it's at USC, 3:30 kickoff. CBS.
Oh.
No, okay, no, but think about it though. It's 12:30 West Coast.
Yep.
12:30 West Coast, 3:30 Eastern.
Yeah.
Remember that. But I mean, Penn State's number 4 in the country, playing good football. And you could argue this is their first true test because yeah, they played a really good Illinois team, but it was at home at night. You know, like
It's a scary place to be at night. Really is.
Oh yeah, for sure.
yeah. But so I mean, USC should have won against Michigan, in my opinion, but you don't deserve to win if you can't stop the run when you know they're just going to run the ball. And then they lost last week to a hungry Minnesota team who got screwed over by poor officiating a couple weeks ago against Michigan. With that, I still think it's too early of a kickoff on the West Coast for USC to like actually get the crowd and people involved. And Penn State, this is Penn State's opportunity to be like, hey, like we're here until Ohio State shows up in their schedule in a couple weeks. But give me Penn State.
I agree. I think that Ohio State Penn State game is going to be a really good run for our money. Hoping we don't have. Hopefully, we can actually watch it and not have to be stuck at a Michigan State football game that week. But with that being said, I'm taking Penn State. I think USC's. Evan and I talked about this. They're not looking like USC yet. And Lincoln Riley, I want to get your thoughts on this. Evan and I had a whole like 20-minute conversation about this. I think he needs to be in the hot seat. If they have a rough rest of the year coming. Best case scenario is they finish like 7-5. Worst case is like they finish 1 under 500. At what point do you think he needs to go?
See, I mean, it's tough because he's an offensive coach.
Yep.
He can score a lot of points. Maybe first before you can him, grab a defensive coordinator. But I mean, looking at their schedule here at Maryland, home against Rutgers, like not easy games.
Nope. At
Washington, as we just saw Saturday night, it's not an easy place to go play.
Nope.
We played there last year, 2 years ago, as Michigan State, and we just got canned there. So,
yeah.
They have Nebraska at home. Nebraska's still good. UCLA they should beat, but
yeah, everybody should beat UCLA.
Notre Dame. So I think you could argue if they go 6-6, 7-5, he should be on the hot seat. I think he's too good of an offensive mastermind to move on like that. I know he's had a few years there, but
yep.
Maybe find a defensive coordinator that actually wants to, have a defensive unit who wants to play and wait.
If they can build up a great defense, they are going to be a great team. They were an amazing offense last year. They had Jerry Rice's kid, and they Caleb, obviously. But I still think that's. I think
it's a little early.
Okay,
I'd give him like mild, not like hot, but like you're pushing
getting warm. It's getting warm.
Yeah. You're pushing
it up. But no, going back to Penn State, give me Penn State.
I've never seen a physical Lincoln Riley team, and that's why Penn State's going to come and walk into LA and win the game. He's an offensive mastermind, but it doesn't matter how many points your offense scores when your defense is letting up even more. So I think Penn State, I don't think they manhandle them, but I think they win by at least 10.
10. I like it.
I can see that. I mean, they got they got the running back duo as well. Don't know the names off my head, but so.
And have like that great defensive end, like Abdul Carter too. He's a dog. He's supposed to be like a first round, maybe even like top 10 pick. So
yeah. So that's Penn State across the board there too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Next up we got is Ole Miss, ranked 9th at 13 LSU. I think this is also going to be a great game.
So I didn't see this morning when I was looking at it, but Mississippi is the favorite going into Death Valley at 7:30 prime time.
That's a little crazy.
Why on earth are they the favorite going into Death Valley? But I mean, LSU's one loss as to what everyone thought was a good USC team week 1.
Yep.
But ever since they've turned it up. So just like Clemson, same situation. But
Yeah.
night game in Death Valley, like I actually like Lane Kiffin and Ole Miss. I think they're a fun team, but I just think LSU is a good team, and night game in Death Valley is just gonna be too much for Ole Miss to walk into after losing to Kentucky at home, you know. Um,
100%.
and I saw something on social media today that South Carolina's coach called out Ole Miss for after every time the opposing team gets a drive on Ole Miss's like drive going on Ole Miss's defense, Ole Miss player like just drops and like it kills the drive for them, like fake injury sort of thing. And you called them out on that, but
Yep.
so I guess we'll see what happens. But go the Tigers.
Tigers, I like it. Listen, I do like Ole Miss. I really do. However, they have someone I did not realize until we had the game on this weekend. They have Joe Judge on their sideline as a coach. I hate that man with most of my heart. He destroyed the Giants organization, truly, made them less functional, set them back a little bit. However, I think this is going to be a great game. Not many people can go into LSU favored. That's huge at night too. That's crazy to me. I do like Ole Miss, I really do, but I have to pick LSU just because it's at night, and you can't go in there be favored as the enemy, and they're going to be okay with that. LSU is going to come out. I think they're going to come out strong, so I'm rocking with the Tigers as well.
Yeah, LSU in this game. It's hard to win in Death Valley, let alone at prime time at night. I don't think Ole Miss has enough firepower to deal with them. LSU wins this game. They'll still be in contention for the playoff after this game, after this win. So give me LSU.
I like it. Next up, I think we have game of the week here with 2 Ohio State versus 3 Oregon.
We all know. But here, so hear me out. It took me a while to think on it. I even texted my brother and my dad. I was like, guys, like, give me your thoughts. I was stuck. I was stumped. But I've seen both of these two teams play 3 or 4 weeks this year just because they're in the Big Ten. I
Yeah.
like watching good football, so might as well watch them. And Ohio State, very dominant on both sides of the ball. Rest, you could argue the best running back duo in the country with Judkins and Henderson, and arguably the best wide receiver room as well with Ejbuka and oh God, what's his name? He scored on us big time.
Jeremiah Smith.
Thank you. I was thinking of that kid for some reason,
I don't want to talk about that guy.
but I mean, on the other hand, like Oregon's good, like you can't just count them out in Autzen Stadium. Like they're good. So it's gonna be a close game. I think it starts slow in the first quarter, 3-0, 3-3. But then I think as the game progresses, I think we'll see like a 31-28 game. And that being said, the Ducks fans will be loud and ready to go and give me Oregon.
It's almost like I knew you were gonna say that, right?
Who would have
I'm
thought?
with
Who would have
Oregon
thought?
t-shirt. That's like when they asked Nick Saban, "What school are you picking, Nick?" Uh, but no, I think Ohio State, to your point, like you said, has been absolutely dominant this year on both offense and defense. Jeremiah Smith has had a tremendous year, unfortunately, against Michigan State as well. Couldn't hold him to nothing, but I think, in my opinion, this Oregon team is not as talented as some of the other Oregon teams we've seen in the past. I personally don't like Dylan Gabriel as much as I've liked some of their past quarterbacks.
Oh, Knicks.
Bo Nix was really good. But with that being said, I'm rocking with Ohio State.
Yeah, Michigan State, they played Oregon last week. It was hard to watch as a state fan, but if you really looked at it, for the first quarter and a half, Michigan State was in that ball game. They shot themselves in the foot multiple times. They picked off Dylan Gabriel 2 times in the game.
In the
They
red
couldn't
zone.
get anything going on. They couldn't get anything going on offense. That's Michigan State's problem. But I saw a lot of holes with Oregon on the offensive, more on the offensive side. I think that more would have been exposed had they played a better offense, honestly, or at least a Michigan State team with a better offensive plan. Ohio State's been blowing out similar caliber teams if you look at who they've played compared to Oregon so far this year. I think by a more convincing way and more in a more dominant fashion. I think what's the spread? You guys know the spread?
It was -3 or 2 for Ohio State.
Okay. Yeah, I think the environment in Austin's gonna be insane. Don't get me wrong. I think the environment's gonna be crazy. I think that'll play a factor in it. But I do think Ohio State walks into Eugene, in Lane County
In Lane County.
and they beat the Ducks on the road this week. I
Kind
do have
solo
Ohio
here.
State.
Interesting. But no, I will say though, like you said, Michigan State exploited Oregon a little bit in that first quarter and a half, or at least played with them. Same with Ohio State. When we were like,
True. The
we shot
Ohio State
ourselves
game
in the
wasn't.
foot with Ohio
We
State.
were
So I think,
competitive for a while.
yeah,
We
so
were.
I think both games Michigan State was competitive, but
But I think that speaks more to Michigan State than it does to both of those teams
yeah,
about how they can honestly like in looking at those both. I think that speaks more to how Michigan State they have these bright spots in them. They just can't capitalize off them. And being an underdog against these top teams, you can't have that happen if you want to win games. So I think that speaks more to volume about Michigan State. They again, I agree that they exploited both teams, both obviously the second and third best team in the country allegedly. So I think that speaks more to Michigan State. But I still like Ohio State for them.
I
I
like.
I do think as well the winner of this game goes to first in the country,
I can see that honestly.
unless Texas covers the spread.
I don't
Yeah,
know. I feel like a 2-3 matchup is still more favorable than a 1 versus 18. Even if the 1 versus 18 is a rivalry game,
Yeah,
we
I mean
we,
that.
we could see someone jump.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Um, Next up, and the last one we got for today is 18 Kansas State versus Colorado. I'm a little tossed up here on this one, honestly.
Yeah, so was I. But Kansas State, what? They went to BYU 2 weeks ago, got killed.
Yep.
Into Oklahoma
Murdered.
State and murdered Ollie Gordon and
Yep.
the Cowboys. Um, but Colorado, on the other hand, is their one loss is to a good Nebraska team at Nebraska at night. They're playing, in my opinion, this year they're playing a lot better ball than they were last year. And I think after Shador called out his O-line, after the Nebraska game, they protected him better.
Yeah.
But I noticed they cannot get a run game going. Their leading rusher only has like 100 yards in the year.
Wow.
So, but it's at Colorado. It's
Yep.
an 8 p.m. game or 7 p.m. game for them. And I just think it's a lot to ask Kansas State to walk into a Colorado team that I think is better and is shining with Travis Hunter and Shador. And I just think Colorado finds a way to do it again, even if it's just like the Baylor game. I think they find a way to win it and close 3-7.
I agree. I was also tossed up for this one. 18 Kansas. They've looked good. They've looked terrible. I didn't know which Kansas State team we're gonna see.
Yeah.
Colorado's only loss, like you said, is against Nebraska. And I think that plays a big part of who they are becoming this season. I still don't think they probably won't make the playoffs, in my opinion, but can't count out Travis Hunter ever. That man is proven a case why he should be a Heisman candidate every single game. Shador is still playing like a top pick in the NFL draft. I think, and they obviously have a couple other guys. Obviously, those are the two name guys that I have off the top of my head. But I think Coach Prime's created an atmosphere in Colorado that's really tough to beat at night, especially. With that being said, I'm rocking with Colorado as well. I just don't think Kansas State's gonna be there.
See, I made a pick when Zach and I were doing picks last week. I told him I'm gonna pick Michigan to beat Washington just so they can lose. Because I don't know, it's like this voodoo or something going in the air where sometimes I'll pick a team and the other team will just happen to win. So I want Colorado to win. And I easily think that they can win this game. Not easily, but I think they can win this game. Both teams coming off a bye, they'll be fresh. You still have top in my opinion, a top five quarterback in the country with Shadur, Colorado, and the best two-way player, and the second, in my opinion, the second number two in the Heisman race with Travis Hunter. I want to pick Colorado, but I also really want them to win. And I think Colorado wins this game. I think the whole country needs to shut the hell up. I'm not gonna lie. And just stop all this talk about beyond all this Colorado nonsense. It's not the same team as last year. It's not. They already have the same amount of wins as they did last year. Um, this is so tough. This is tough. As I really think I really want Colorado to win. And if that means sacrificing a pick, then I'll sacrifice a pick. So give me Kansas State and hopefully Colorado wins.
I will mention Colorado, 3.5 point underdog at home. My game.
They're underdogs? Okay.
They're another underdog. So, but
I think we got a great slate of games this weekend, honestly.
Best week of college football so far, in my opinion.
Yes.
Easily.
Hey,
Easily.
I've seen all over Twitter. This is the week where people are skipping their own weddings for this. So
That's
This is the week.
not sure
This
I'd
is the
commit
week.
that far, but I definitely have propped the phone up on the top of the bride's head or something like that.
yeah.
Make her wear one of those headbands, you know what I'm talking about.
Your bride.
No, yeah. But no. So I think we got some good picks. Parker, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for popping in, Parker, bro. It's been a blast.
Your first guest.
Even if you have the Oregon t-shirt on,
Sell out.
we'll still take it here. At Michigan State. I just want to
I wore a
emphasize.
Michigan State shirt all day. It was just a little stinky. So
Yeah, so he had to change out of the Michigan State shirt because he was recording. You just heard him say that. Can't be on film with the Michigan State stuff.
Hey, I almost wore a Maple Leafs jersey. So like, come on, at least I kept it on theme.
Yeah.
Don't they play tomorrow?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, with that being said, we'd like to thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, look forward to talking to you guys in the next episode. Go Green.
NFL. Next episode will come with more.
Next episode, NFL. That'll be out around
NFL.
Thursday-ish. So, take care.